Hello from Seoul. If you wanna make restaurant quality Korean or Asian food at home, but feel a little intimidated by the endless list of ingredients, then you came to the right place. With just a few pantry essentials that I'm gonna show you today, you'll be a master chef of Korean and Asian cooking. I guarantee it. Asian cooking is basically the art of chemistry. It's all about how you mix different kinds of sauces, seasonings, and condiments. Because of that, it can feel a little overwhelming, especially if you're just getting started. But don't worry about it. With just these 14 ingredients that I'm gonna show you today, you'll be able to make most Korean and Asian dishes like a pro. Almost all the recipes on my channel are built around these ingredients, which means with just these 14 items, you can create countless Korean and Asian dishes like building with blocks. Actually, I designed my recipes this way on purpose, so you don't have to spend extra money or effort buying dozens of different sauces and seasonings. So instead of thinking that's too many, just invest in these 14. Trust me, this small investment will save you a ton of money on takeout or delivery. By the way, my second cookbook, Beyond Korean, is finally out. And the best part? All 100 amazing recipes in this book can be made with just the 14 pantry essentials I'm showing you today. So if you want to explore even more dishes with these ingredients, go ahead and grab a copy. Trust me, you won't regret it. And don't forget my first cookbook, Simply Korean. It follows the same system. The link is in the description. First, soy sauce. Some of you might be thinking, wait, shouldn't we start with salt and pepper? But come on, everyone already has those at home, right? So we're gonna start with soy sauce. Don't even think about saying vinegar. You all have that too. There are so many types of soy sauce out there, and each of them is made for slightly different purpose. And sure, it would be great to use the right soy sauce for every single dish. But let's be honest, our pantry space is not unlimited, so I'm not gonna overwhelm you with all of them here. So when I say soy sauce on this channel, I'm talking about the one commonly labeled as all-purpose soy sauce, light soy sauce, or regular soy sauce. They usually have a thin, clear consistency and work beautifully in stir-fries, soups, stews, dressings, or pretty much everything you make in the kitchen. For information, soy sauces from Korea, Japan, and China are each made to suit their own cuisines, but the differences are not dramatic, so just choose the one that fits your taste. Personally, I recommend using a 100% naturally brewed soy sauce with a deep umami flavor. Since many of you are here for Korean cooking, let's quickly talk about Korean soy sauce. There are 3 main types of soy sauce in Korea, and if you use the right one at the right time, you'll get the best results. But as always, I recommend using whatever you already have in your pantry. I'm sharing this part purely for your curiosity, so you don't need to stock up on all of this. The first one is 양조간장, 양조 soy sauce. This is a 100% naturally brewed soy sauce, which means it's packed with umami. But because it can lose some of its flavor and aroma when it's heated, it's best used for lightly stir-fried dishes, dressings, marinade, or dipping sauce. The next one is 진간장, Jin soy sauce. This one is blend of Yangzhou soy sauce and not naturally brewed soy sauce, which makes it more affordable. The great thing about Jin soy sauce is that its flavor and aroma hold up even when heated, so it's perfect for stir-fries and braised dishes. The last one is 국간장, soup soy sauce. As the name suggests, this one is mainly used for soups, but it's also commonly used for seasoning namu, Korean seasoned vegetables. Since it's saltier and lighter in color, you can season your soup without using too much of it, and it helps keep your broth nice and clear instead of turning to dark. Alright, the second one is dark soy sauce. It's commonly used in Chinese cooking, and it's thicker and darker than regular soy sauce. It's used not only to deepen the flavor of a dish, but also to give it a rich, dark color. But be careful, if you use it too much, your dish can turn way too dark. This time, gochujang, Korean chili paste. Gochujang is one of the most popular condiments in Korean cooking. It doesn't just add a pleasant heat to your dishes, but it also brings sweetness and a deep, rich flavor. And the best part? It works beautifully with almost anything. You can add it to stir fries, stews, or even dipping sauce. So feel free to play around with it. Trust me, they'll all taste amazing. Next, doenjang, Korean fermented soybean paste. This is one of the most essential seasonings in Korean cooking. Doenjang may not be as popular as gochujang, but I truly believe it's #1 seasoning in Korean cuisine. It delivers an amazing umami with its sharp, salty, and deeply savory flavor. While it's mainly used in soups or stews, its richness makes it perfect for dipping sauces, dressings, or even marinades. Next, doubanjiang, Chinese chili bean paste. It's known for its spicy, salty flavor, and it brings richness and depth of flavor to all kinds of spicy dishes. It's commonly used in Sichuan cuisine and in recipes inspired by the bold flavors of that region. Next, gochugaru, Korean chili flakes. Some people think all spicy Korean dishes are made with gochujang, Korean chili paste, but that's not true at all. In most cases, 9 out of 10, this gochugaru is real hero. It's not just for Korean cooking. These chili flakes add the perfect amount of heat to dishes, so you can use it in any cuisine. What? You think it makes your dish too spicy? Don't worry about it. It's not insanely spicy. It just has a nice pleasant kick, so you're really gonna like it. Next up is sugar. There are lots of different types of sweeteners out there, but for most of my cooking, I simply use regular white sugar. And honestly, any type of sugar you have on hand will work just fine. It's not gonna make a huge difference, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, this part is really important, so please remember this. In most Asian cooking, sugar isn't just about sweetness. It works more like a flavor enhancer. It helps balance the saltiness and brings all the flavors together. And the amount of sugar I use in my recipes is never too much. I always use just the right amount of sugar to perfectly balance the dish. Nothing more. So please follow the recipe as written. Trust me, you won't regret it. But depending on the taste and situation, you can always adjust it slightly. This time, oyster sauce. This slightly sweet, salty, and incredibly flavorful sauce can make any dish unbelievably delicious. Seriously, literally any dish. That's why I even use oyster sauce in pasta sometimes. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you already know that. And if you've actually tried it, then you know how amazing it turns out. Sorry, Italian friends, but trust me. Once you try it, you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. Next, dashida, Korean beef stock powder. This beef-flavored stock powder is usually mixed with water to make stock. But honestly, it can do so much more than that. When you use it as a seasoning, it works kind of like salt or soy sauce, and it boosts all the flavors in your dish. So if your food is almost done cooking, but you feel like something's missing, just add a little bit of this. Trust me, this bad boy will solve the problem. For information, dashida comes in many different flavors, like beef, seafood, clam, anchovy, and more. But for all the recipes in this channel, I only use the beef flavor. This time, chicken bouillon powder. Just like oyster sauce, this stuff delivers a super concentrated savory flavor. It's a great option when you want to boost the umami and add more depth of flavor to the dish. And if you don't have dashida, Korean beef stock powder, you can use this as a substitute in most of my recipes. Of course, they have different flavor profiles, so the taste won't be exactly the same. But when it comes to enhancing flavor, they play a very similar role, so you don't have to worry about it. Next, hondashi, Japanese bonito soup stock powder. Dashi is an essential soup stock in Japanese cooking. It's usually made from dried bonito flakes and kelp. But let's be honest, we can't make fresh dashi from scratch every single night. And that's exactly where this bad boy comes in. Hondashi lets you make a flavorful Japanese broth quickly and easily, and it instantly adds that deep, savory umami to soups and all kinds of dishes. This time, toasted sesame oil. Because of its strong, nutty aroma and flavor, toasted sesame oil is usually added at the very end of cooking as a finishing touch. And the final touch, trust me, it makes a huge difference in flavor. Honestly, the difference between using it and skipping it is night and day. So don't even think about leaving this one out and always keep it stocked in your pantry. Next, fish sauce. Fish sauce has a salty, savory, and slightly pungent flavor. I know some people hesitate to use it because it sounds fishy, but if you use it properly, you won't make your food taste fishy at all. Instead, it has a deep, complex umami flavor that's hard to get from anything else. What? You don't believe it? You know, kimchi contains ridiculously large amount of fish sauce, way more than most people would ever imagine. But does kimchi taste fishy? No, not at all, right? So please trust me and give this a try. You won't regret it. Among the many options, I recommend anchovy-based fish sauce. This time, cooking wine. Cooking wine helps tenderize meat, remove any gamey or fishy taste. Also, it works as an excellent flavor enhancer. There are many great cooking wines all around the world, but on this channel, I mainly use mirin, Shaoxing wine, and sake. For information, these three are not perfect substitutes for one another. That said, you can swap them if needed, but if you do, the authenticity and flavor of the dish could be changed. For example, if you use Shaoxing wine instead of mirin in Japanese or Korean dishes, you will end up with a more Chinese-style aroma. On the other hand, if you replace Shaoxing wine with mirin or sake in Chinese cooking, you may lose that signature Chinese flavor. But that doesn't mean you have to own all of them. If you're okay with a small compromise in flavor, you can absolutely stick to just one and use it across different cuisines. Dry sherry can also work just fine. But if you want to recreate the flavors in my recipes as close as possible, I highly recommend keeping these three cooking wines in your pantry. Yes, you might have to spend a little bit, but trust me, you won't regret it. Today we talked about the pantry essentials that will turn you into an Asian cooking master. With just these 14 ingredients, you can make countless delicious Korean and Asian dishes. Sounds like a pretty good deal, right? So next time you go grocery shopping, make sure to grab these bad boys. If you do, I'm 100% sure the money you spend on them will easily be covered by what you don't spend on takeout in a month, maybe in a week. Alright, this is it for today, and I'll see you next time.